Hey, wait, what's up, YouTube? This is your host, King Gio in the house. Well, I have to say, look, for those who don't know me, I am a Mets fan. I've been a Mets fan since I was 10 years old. And that was back in 1981. So I'm 50. Well, I'm 51 now. And I've seen the Mets ups and I've seen the Mets down and I've seen them sideways and I've seen everything. So when I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock in the morning and I saw the signing of Alex Correa, I was like, well, that's not that's not bad. But let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go back. Let me go back. So when Carlos Correa was being shopped around and he was looking for teams, I thought to myself, this would be a great move for the Mets if they get him at a good price. You know, um, and when because I said to myself, him at third base at the other position he's gonna play. Him at third base, you got Lindor shortstop, you got Manila second base, you got Peter Alonso at first. You're gonna have a stack. You're gonna have a stacked infield. That infield is gonna be potent. If Carlos Correa can manage that third base, I've never seen Carlos Correa play third base. I've seen I've seen Javier Baez play third base when he was in the World Classic for Puerto Rico. I seen him play third base, and he played great. I mean, his arm was still impeccable. So I said to myself, if he can manage, if Carlos Correa can manage that, then we're gonna have a great infield. But then he decided to go with San Francisco. Steve Cohen said that he was talking with Scott Boras, and they decided to go with San Francisco. And when I saw that $350 million for 13 years, I was like, wow, that's a lot. That's a lot of money. And and I said, well, you know what? He's better off over there anyway. Because I wanted to come to New York just to solidify a position that I think Escobar is lousy at. Um, Beatty still needs work, but you got to give him Beatty a shot too because he's a rookie. You got to give these rookies a shot. But when it comes to Correa, is Correa worth 315 million? In my opinion, and I'm gonna say this as a true Mets fan, no, he's not. Carlos Correa is not worth $315 million, and I'm gonna show you why. We all know that Steve Cohen has money. We know that, and we applaud Steve Cohen for doing the things that he thinks is going to benefit the Mets because he wants a championship now. He doesn't want to wait tomorrow. He doesn't want to wait till next to 2 or 3 years. He wants a winning championship now. So that's why he signed Verlander to a ridiculous 86 million 2 year contract. Which I would have never done that. But that's his money. He does what he wants to do. Um, right? So it is what it is. He does what he wants to do with his money. So he signed Verlander, and then he signed Peterson, and then there are other things that I would have said the money could have gone towards something different as far as the pitching is concerned. The money could have gone somewhere else. We could have gone Roland for less than that, and a younger pitcher that's going to give you more than 2 years. Um, that's not to say that Verlander cannot go into the category of Randy Johnson or the category of Nolan Ryan. That's not to say that, but I cannot guarantee you. But he probably, Verlander only played for the Mets because the money was there. That's about it. So let's talk about Carlos now. Now, $315 million for 12 years is a lot of money for a man that never played a full season in the major leagues. Carlos Correa has not played a full season in the major leagues. The most he's ever played was 155 games. Now, mind you, Carlos Correa, he's my patriarch. I'm Puerto Rican. He's Puerto Rican. But the truth is the truth. He's never played in 155 games. I mean, he's never played a full season in the major leagues. In the 8 years that he's been in the major league, he's only played. 7 of those he's been in the IL 7 times. 7 times. Never has he recorded 30 home runs. Never has he recorded 100 RBIs. Never. Last year he struck out 132 times. If you see his stats, whenever he reaches 500 some odd bats, he strikes out 100 some odd times. The most RBIs he's ever hit was 96. So you're giving a person that's never reached 30 home runs, never reached 100 RBIs. You're giving that person a $315 million contract. I don't understand that. I mean, you could have gotten him for dirt cheap, because if San Francisco is telling you there's something that came on on the medical report that they were concerned, we're not going to make this deal, and I understand that Steve Cohen's money, then that should concern you. But he's a billionaire, so it doesn't matter to him. So other teams were not going to go after Carlos Correa. The only team that he was going to still play for was the Twins, because no one's going to shell out that money. Because people wanted to find out, why didn't the Giants pick him? What's in that report? Now I don't know if legally, can the Giants disclose what was in the report, or Scott Boras can say? I'm not sure, but just think about it. You're giving a guy $330 million. I mean, $350 million. You want to make sure he's in top shape. That doesn't guarantee you that he's not going to get injured, but you want to make sure he's in top shape, and there's nothing wrong with him. So why would you give an exuberant amount of money to a man who's never played a full season, never reached 100 RBIs? I mean, I see a lot of people like, oh, they are ecstatic. Yes, I'm great. I'm great. If this comes to fruition and he passes the physical, and Carlos Correa can play a full season, he can show his full potential, then that's something different. Remember, Carlos Correa was the #1 draft. When he came up. You don't see too many Puerto Ricans coming up with #1 draft, because the draft in Puerto Rico is way different than it is over here, and it's not included. It's a whole bit different story, which I'm not going to get into the debate right now, because Major League has a sham. But anyway, he was the #1 prospect, the #1 draft. He thought great things of him when he came up, and wow, hasn't played a full season. He got injured, hasn't hit 100 RBIs. He hasn't hit 30 home runs. So why would you get all this hyped up about, you have him third base? It's too much money for him to I would have given him maybe 3 years, but he was Scott Boras. Scott Boras was not going to go for anything, and that's Scott Boras' fault. Scott Boras gets his players the money that they want at a certain time, but Scott Boras is a greedy agent, and you're not going to the one thing that you have to do, which I don't think Steve Cohen realizes, is that just because you spend millions of dollars does not guarantee you a championship. You have, on paper, you solidified that you got a good team, but baseball is not basketball. Baseball is not basketball. Where in basketball, you know that your scorer is going to hit you 25 or 30 points a game, because that's who he is. You can say that in basketball, but you can't say that in baseball, because baseball is different. You got to hit a ball, and that ball, when you hit that ball doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go for a hit. It doesn't mean it's going to go for a double. It doesn't mean it's going to go for a triple. It doesn't mean it's going to go for a home run. It doesn't mean that. It means that you hit the ball, and the ball falls wherever it goes. That's baseball. If you got to play like Tony Gwynn, you're going to say, you know what, no matter what happens, Tony Gwynn is going to hit. You can say Tony Gwynn is going to hit 300. Why? Because he's a consistent player, and he puts the ball to play. Most of these players nowadays, the Correas, the Lindors, all these players, all they hit is for long balls. All they want, they're not satisfied if they hit a hit. They're not satisfied, with a double here or a bunt here. They're not satisfied with it. They want that long ball. That's why baseball is being ruined now, because there's no there's no small ball play. There's no touch. There's no bunt here. There's no stealing a base. There's no hit and run. None of that. You don't see that, because you want to see that home run. You want that pitcher 100 miles per hour fastball. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see that pitcher that hits that has a great slider or that has a wicked curveball. You don't want to see that pitcher. That pitcher is no longer existent unless that pitcher has a repertoire that has 100 miles per hour fastball. And it's a shame. It is. you know. But like I said, Steve Cohen is, he wants to do a team now. He wants to win now. But what do you do? That's not going to guarantee you. Look, last year, we had the first team in the history of baseball to have lost first place, right? To have lost a lead as gigantic as we had. We lost that lead. We let Atlanta come back and beat us. And we lost that lead. We are the first team in baseball history that has happened. That's a shame. And you had great pitching, but did it guarantee you a championship? No. Look at Judge. Judge did a great thing for the Yankees. Judge got 62 home runs. That's great. But when it came to the playoffs, he sucked. He did nothing. Did that? Now they gave him a contract. Does that guarantee? No, it doesn't. It doesn't guarantee that he's going to be. He's going to perform, because he's going to perform to that level. A lot of players they do great in the regular season, and they're horrible in playoffs. And a lot of players are horrible in regular season, but they are great playoff people. They amped up their game for some odd reason. That happens. But think about it. Like I said, Correa hasn't hit 300 in the season. Correa hasn't hit 30 home runs in the season. Correa hasn't hit 100 RBIs. Now I guarantee you, if Jeff McNeil was to continue on the path that he's had, and and let's say he has another season where he's a batting champion, or he comes close to a batting champion, and he hits over 200 hits, he's not gonna get $300 million. Ichiro Suzuki, who had 3,000 hits, didn't even reach $300 million. And that was a player that put the ball anywhere in play. And he came from Japan. He came from Japan late. And even when he came in late, he still hit. He still got 3,000 hits. Because those are players that don't care. Even if people may say, "Oh, he wasn't a home run hitter." Okay, fine. But you have home run hitters that hit for average. You have home run hitters that can hit for hits, that can get you a base hit, that can get you. You have that. Once you discipline yourself and you don't swing at everything in their mother, you're going to be good. But you have to be disciplined. You have to be disciplined in what you swing, how you swing at things, stuff like that. So getting Correa is a good piece, but getting Correa at the price that they got Correa, no. Are the Mets a team to fear? It depends, because it depends. I mean, if you look at the batting order, what you got? You got Brendan Nemo. You got Marte. That's good. Then you got Lindor. Then you got Peter Alonso. Then you got Correa. Then you got Vogelbach, which is horrible. I don't even know why they signed him. Then you got Mark Canha, right? What? Then you got, that's my wife. Then you got Mark Canha. Who else do they got? Oh, and the catcher, Nito, or McCann, or Alvarez. So that's where the thing goes down. But you do have a team, but you needed something to solidify. Canha, I like Canha because Canha doesn't swing for the fences. If Canha could, he's a very patient. He's a very patient hitter. If he can up this game, you know what you're going to get with Canha. You're going to get 270 to 265. But he's going to hit the ball, and he plays a decent left field. Not the best, but he plays a decent left field. Now you come to the infield. Now the infield, you're going to get Correa at third base. You're going to get Lindor at second base. You're going to get McNeil at second. Lindor shortstop, McNeil second, and Peter Alonso at first. Right? Now, mind you, Carlos Correa is a better shortstop than Lindor for me. He's a better shortstop than Lindor. He has better range than Lindor. Javier Baez beats all of them. Javier Baez got range and he has depth. Javier Baez has an arm. And if you ever seen him play for the World Classic, and if you haven't seen him, look it up on YouTube. Javier Baez has for third baseman, when he played third base for Puerto Rico, he had an arm. He had a cannon for an arm from throwing from third base. And the shortstop, Javier Baez, was great. I would have loved for the Mets to keep Baez, but for his attitude, I guess. The Mets didn't like it when he did that, and that's what it was. So they got rid of him because they said he's influencing Francisco Lindor, and that's no good. But anyway, so you get those. So not. I remember when the Mets had. I remember when the Mets had Edgardo Alonso, right? They had Valentine, and they had what was this other guy's name? He played second base. But I know back in the 1999, 2000, the Mets had the best infield, the best defense, infield-wise, that they've ever had. Because I remember when the Mets had Wally Backman, or a Knight, Rafael Santana at shortstop, Keith Hernandez at first, Gary Carter at home plate. I remember when they had Lenny Dykstra in center field, Darryl Strawberry in right, and Kevin Mitchell or Kevin McReynolds, but it was Kevin Mitchell's, all that kind of stuff. Hi, Michelle. And and they had a good team. They had a good defensive team, and hopefully with this year, with the Correa playing third base, with Lindor playing shortstop, with McNeil, if McNeil can do what he did this year, take it into next year, which I know he can, because McNeil, if you see McNeil's trajectory, even though McNeil came into the big leagues late, if you see McNeil's trajectory, he's always batted 300, always, and he's always put the ball in play. You know who's McNeil's work critic? Himself, because when he doesn't get a hit, he gets all angry. I don't know whether that's a good thing or bad thing, but I see him as like, well, just a baby, but at least he puts the ball in play. You'll see other players that the ball comes down the middle, they don't even swing at it. Remember Carlos Beltran when we played in the playoffs, and he didn't swing for 3 pitches in a row. He just held the bat there, and that's why we lost. When we played the Cardinals. But if we can do that, if we can get Correa for a full season, like I said, I wouldn't have given him that much money. I would have waited while I wanted him to prove himself. So I wanted Correa in the team. I really did. I wanted him to play for the Mets. But I didn't want to pay that much. But like I said, it's not my money. That's Cohen's money. And Cohen should have someone better to give him advice on how to do things, because, like I said, Correa has not hit 290. Correa's a 292 hitter, I think, something like that. But he hasn't hit 30 home runs. He hasn't reached 100 RBIs. And you're going to give him $315 million to do what? So hopefully, being in New York, hopefully playing next to Lindor, hopefully him playing next to McNeil, and playing next to Peter Alonso, and those players, he can adjust, and he can get away. And if he stays away from the injury list, from the IL, then the Mets can say, now they have a good team, because you got to think about it. The Mets had a 15 to 20 game lead last year in the summertime. It's not the first time they did this. The year prior to that, 2 years before that, before COVID, the same thing happened. So the Mets had last year, this year they had a big gap. They had a 20 game lead, and they lost that lead. After the All-Star, they lost that lead. They still had the same pitching. They still had the same hitters. What happened? You just don't hit. When you have Peter Alonso, yeah, he's going to hit you 30-some home run ball. When you have Peter Alonso swinging at balls this high, or Alonso or Lindor swinging at balls that low, you're not going to win a game. And every game that you play, you're leading 10 to 12 men on base. That's no good. So if Carlos Correa can pick up that slack, if Carlos Correa can limit his strike zone, and last year that's 132 strikeouts that he did. That's a lot of strikeouts for 555 at bats. That's a lot of strikeouts. Lindor, the same way. Peter Alonso, the same way. They are wild swingers. If you can tune down your swinging, you're going to be an amazing team. The Mets can do a lot with what they have. To be honest with you, I'm not too thrilled giving Max Scherzer the money that they gave him. I'm not too thrilled getting Verlander either. 39 years old for $86 million. You could have gotten Carlos Rodon. Lefty, younger. You could have gotten another pitcher. You could have signed Bassett. But these are the things that you do. But Cohen wants to win. Yeah, but Michelle, but you know what? Stephen Cohen doesn't care about that because Stephen Cohen is a billionaire. He has Stephen Cohen is worth $17 billion, Michelle. So to him, that's nothing. Thus paying the he has to, I don't know how much it is, but he has to pay a high luxury tax. But to him it's nothing. But you know who's gonna feel it though? You guys. Because I'm in North Carolina, I want to go see a Mets game. But when you go to a Mets game, you're going to see prices, food prices are going to go up, seat prices are going to go up, because you have to make up, you have to make up that gap. Now the Mets are thinking about let's get rid of Carlos Carrasco. No, you keep Carlos Carrasco. You got to keep Carlos Carrasco because now you gave Ken DeSanchez, you gave him 175 million dollars for 5 years. You gave money to a pitcher that you've never seen before. You gave money to a pitcher that's never played major league before. You open up your wallet. Now you don't know what you're getting, and you don't know what you're getting in Kendall. You do know what you're getting in Carlos. And like every year baseball is different. Every year is a different. Baseball comes out different. One year you could win 20 games. The next year you cannot win 20 games. One year you look, put it this way, Verlander hasn't even reached 100 wins. Yeah, I know. I mean, so do I because Cano wasn't. See, Cano is a good player. You know, Cano was I think his lifetime average is 302. I think it is, but he was a contact player and he swung for the fences and he did a double here, a single here, there. That's good. You know, Cespedes was a good player too, but Cespedes swung at everything that he saw. You know, Baez would have been good. If Baez can find a coach and tells him, "You're Baez, you can't be swinging at these pitches. When you see this pitch that come, don't swing. When you see this, if you can control Baez and you can make him trim down, Baez will be an excellent hitter. But he swings at everything. That I don't know why, because he wants to put everything in play. So just like Peter Alonso, you swing at balls. Look, if you see some of the games he swung at balls that were outside his reach. He sees the ball. You could see it because you were watching TV. You see the ball is outside his range, and he still swings at it. You know, so slugging. I mean, home run is great, but I prefer. I like to see a game where we're losing 3-0, and we come back and win 4-3, and they're all hits. All hits, no home runs, all hits. Why? Because it puts more excitement to the game. You know, a hit here, a hit there, a stolen base here. You know, because we don't even steal bases anymore. The people are like, oh, this guy stole 30 bases. 30 bases is nothing. I remember when Ricky Henderson was stealing 80, Vince Coleman 80, Tim Raines. That's when Montreal was Montreal. When the Nationals were the Montreal Expos. They had Tim Raines. Tim Raines stole a lot of bases. Vince Coleman, for the St. Louis Cardinals, he was a fierce runner. He stole a lot of bases. Ricky Henderson stole a lot of bases. You know, that's what you do with your number one. I mean, you want your first batter to get on base as much as possible. You want your second base, maybe you want your second batter to move him over. That's what you bunt and stuff like that. And then from that moment on, hits, home runs, whatever the case may be. Oh, Regis was good, right? Regis, when he won the batting title and he was hitting home runs, he was good. But Regis was a good stealer. Bayes, you know, these guys were good. Mookie Wilson wasn't a quick runner as per se, but he was intelligent. Lenny Dykstra. If you saw the Mets from the '80s, when the Mets won the World Series, what was their job? To get men on base. You got Wally Backman. Jose Regis was your favorite. He was good. He had a cannon for an arm too. Kevin Oster had a cannon for an arm. The best shortstop that I seen the Mets have, and if you could look it up, was Ray Ordonez. Ray Ordonez was classic, and he had an arm, that kid. But anyway, what was I saying? So I sidetracked. Well, it was Reyes, and I sidetracked. But that's what we know. It's not that way it was. So back in the '80s, in '88, when we won the World Series and stuff like that, what was the job? Lenny Dykstra will bat. Lenny Dykstra will get on base. Wally Backman will come, bunt them over. Then you have Keith Hernandez. Keith Hernandez got his hit. Then you had Darryl Strawberry, the cleanup hitter. Boom. Then you had Gary Carter. Gary Carter wasn't that great of a player. He was just an impacted player. But he wasn't that great of a player. He wasn't even that great of a catcher. But he went to the Hall of Fame because of what he did. He was a good Montreal. He was a Montreal. He was an ambassador to the game. They called him the kid. They didn't call him the kid for nothing. He was an ambassador to the game, and you got to give him credit for that. And that's the way it was. And then you went, and then you went, and then you went, and then you rolled down from there. And it's the thing that nowadays baseball doesn't have that. Baseball, you want people to hit home runs. You want people to do this. You want people to do that. And that's the game of baseball is not the same. Now next year they're gonna start doing a clock. I don't mind the game going long because I am an avid baseball fan. So if a game went 3 hours, it doesn't bother me. Yes, small ball and good fundamentals, that's the way you have to play the game. You no longer see a squeeze play when you have a third baseman. I mean, if someone in third, no outs, and you have someone batting up. You don't see no one, hit a bunt, make that third base, make that the run on third come home. You don't see that. Or you don't see a runner going from second, bunting from second to third. You don't see that. You don't see the small ball no more because the game of baseball has changed so much. It has become a business. Okay? We no longer care about the person who's batting 300. We care about the person who's getting you 40 to 50 home runs. We're caring about that pitcher that's going to get you 100 miles per hour. Like I said, look at DeGrom. DeGrom would have already had over 100 wins. But pitching with the Mets, those 2 times that he won the Cy Young Award, he won one was 11 games, the other one was 15 or 14 games. Not even a 20-game winner. Because why? Because every time he pitched a great game, the Mets didn't bat. But Verlander hasn't reached 100 games, 100 wins. Not even he has 88. Scherzer hasn't reached 100 wins. Randy Johnson has it. Roger Clemens has it. Not the white guy. Yes, guys. So I haven't watched the Astros because I'm a Mets fan and I only watch the Mets. I should start watching other people play baseball. I am a baseball fan. But I haven't watched baseball. My theory is because they have Spanish players. But yeah, but they play fundamental baseball. If I haven't seen them, but that's the way you win baseball games. You play fundamental baseball. This thing where the shift was killing the game. The shift was killing the game where it was supposed to be a hit, it would have been an out. Well, stuff like that. Now we're going back to the shift is not being there anymore. I think you can only shift 1 per game. I'm not sure. But the shift was hurting the game. And when you get that kind of baseball, you're not going to do anything, You're not going to do anything. You're not going to get, if you stuck, like Michelle said, if you stuck to fundamental baseball, stealing bases, and if you have someone that's quick, have that person steal second base because he's quick. That's what you got him there for his speed. Have him steal. But we haven't had that since Reyes. And then sometimes you got Peter Alonso that tries to steal second base. Peter Alonso should not be stealing second base, by the way. But let's talk about the career. So, is Correa worth $315 million? No. Is he worth 12-year contract? No. Like I said, that's Steve Cohen's money. He can do as he pleases. But we're going to see how he does Correa at third base. Let's see if he passes the physical. And I don't even think the physical to Steve Cohen is a factor there. I don't think he cares about the physical itself. I think he wanted a big name. Like I said, at the beginning, I wanted Correa to come to the Mets. I knew the only position he was going to play was third base. That's the only position he can play. And I knew that. But I didn't want to pay an arm and a leg for Correa. I didn't want to pay an arm and a leg for Correa. But now that we have paid an arm and a leg pending his physical, and like I said, I don't think Steve Cohen cares about the physical. He's going to be a Met. And now it's just a matter of time where the Carlos Correa can give you a whole full season. It's a matter of time where the Carlos Correa can adjust to playing third base, which I think he can. And it's just a matter of time that he can just keep himself out of the injured list. Because now he's no longer disabled as an injured list. If he can stay out of there, and would see if the influence, of having the Lindor, his countryman, by having Lindor next to him, would that help him out? Because Lindor, even though Lindor strikes out a lot, but Lindor is the type of player that if you see him, when Peter Alonso going to come up, and the other players comes up after him. He tells them, listen, this guy has this, he's throwing this kind of ball, so look out for this, look out for that. Now, mind you, he struck out all those pitches, but he will give advice to the other players. Listen, this is why he's throwing. So you want that in a player, and maybe that can rub off in Carlos Correa, because this year Lindor hit his best in both in home runs and in RBIs. He's never hit 100 RBIs before. Lindor in his career, he came close, but this year he surpassed 100 RBIs. He came close. I think he hit 30. I don't know how many home runs. I have to look it up, but he did his personal best. He struck a lot. I seen him strike out of balls he shouldn't have struck out. I seen him swing that balls up here, man, up here. But it is what it is. But he did his personal best, and hopefully with that, Lindor can give advice to Carlos Correa. You know what? Do this, do that. This person is pitching like this, and then Carlos Correa can adjust to Carlos, because Carlos Correa is a good baseball player. He's not a phenom. He wasn't going to be the face of Diaz. Reminds me of the closer, retired Yankees Mariano Spelling. Now, Mets also have David Robertson. What do you think of them? Well, Diaz is a good pitcher. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes he is erratic. He is erratic. So you gotta be careful with that. Robertson, I can't say too much on Robertson because I've never seen him pitch. But the one pitcher that you can leave in the pen, it's David Robertson, the lefty. I think not David Robertson. Yeah, the lefty, which the Mets keep putting him for a starting pitcher, but he's horrible pitching starting. But when he comes into relief, he is a good relief pitcher. I'm not talking about the one you're talking about, David Robinson, the lefty. So he's good when he comes to relief. Mariano Rivera and Edwin Diaz are two different pitchers. Because Mariano Rivera just pitches his slider and fastball, as to Mariano Rivera had different styles. And you can hit. I mean, you can hit both of them if you wanted to. I mean, if you come think about it. But I would, if I would have had closing a game, I would have chosen Mariano Rivera to close the game over Edwin Diaz, because Edwin Diaz is erratic. And like I said, every year is different. What he did last year doesn't mean he's going to do it again this upcoming year, because that's the way baseball is. You have one great year, and you have one. The next year could be great, and the next year could be a disaster. Because that's the way it is. Year after year, things are different. Like I said, this is not basketball where you can know that Jordan's going to score 40 to 30 to 40, 35 to 40 points a game, or KD or Stephen Curry, or Jordan or LeBron. But baseball is different. You could say, Diaz had 40 saves. I'm just saying, and next year he's gonna have 40 saves. You can't say that. They gave him a lot. They gave him a lot of money to close. So let's see he can keep that. I mean, a lot of things that from my understanding, Andrew Diaz has a chip on his elbow, and that's never been a factor. I don't know if that's ever going to be a factor, but he does have a chip spur. That's what I heard. So take of it in what it is. Do we have a better team? We needed a bat. I would have, Vogelbach as DH. I don't even know why the Mets didn't get JD Martinez, to DH. To be honest with you, I don't know why. Because Vogelbach, it's not that great of a player. He's not that good. He has a good eye for the ball, but he's not a person who's going to impact. Like the best DH hitter in Major League Baseball was Edgar Martinez. His signing was announced this morning around 2:00 in the morning. I got it at 4, but it was around 2:00 in the morning. Steve Cohen is in Hawaii with his wife Alex, and I'm assuming that when he found out that San Francisco, because yesterday was the announcement of of the announcement of that was announced. San Francisco was supposed to announce Carlos Correa on their press conference, but something in the report on this on Carlos Correa medical report, they come to the liking of San Francisco, so they notified their contract, and that's when Steve Cohen just came in swoop and gave him an exorbitant 12 years for $315 million, which is absurd. That's way too much money. You gave Brandon Nemo too much money too. Too many years for Brandon Nemo. Brandon Nemo is a good player. Look when I tell you this. You're gonna say King Gio is correct. When Brandon Nemo is most productive when you give Brandon Nemo's days off. You cannot give Brandon Nemo 7 days in a week because he's going to slow down. I've noticed that about Brandon Nemo. But out of those 7 days, you give him 2 days rest. Brandon Nemo is going to be. It's a good hitter, but he gets restless. When he gets restless, he swings at everything. Trust me, I've seen it. Too much money for center field. He doesn't have the range. He doesn't cover too much ground. He doesn't have the arm. But hey, great for him. He's always been a loyal player. He's a good lefty. I give him that, but he's a good contact hitter. And for your Michelle, yeah, a lot of players don't like playing DH because they like to play. But it comes a time that, you know what? You want a DH because you don't have to take that being underneath the sun, or your body doesn't have to take that pounding, running here, running there. When you come to Edgar Martinez for the Seattle Mariners, that's all he did basically for his whole career. He was a first baseman, but then he turned DH. He was a great DHer. So I think DH was good for the National League. Even though I like the pitch to hit, but now it gives you that extra bat or the extra, that extra flavor in the game. You can bring in someone and say, you know what, you can be my DH. And that keeps a lot of these sluggers in business. Look at Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols came back, signed with the Cardinals for 1 year because he wanted to retire in the Cardinals. He had some personal agendas that he wanted to do. He wanted to reach 700 home runs, which he did. Congratulations to him. Albert Pujols. Albert Pujols is a great player. He has a stepson who's autistic. He does a lot of great things for the community. So that was great. Yeah, I know because you're always riding them, and that's what happens when you ride these players. Luis Guillorme is a good second baseman, even though Luis Guillorme is a great shortstop too. And Luis Guillorme is a good. You could put Luis Guillorme on the bat as a DH because he is a contact hitter. If you see Guillorme as a bat, he always put the ball in play. They may fall, they may not fall. That's the way baseball is. But like Michelle said, Lindor, Pete, Marte played every day. You saw it. It slows down their game. You have to give these guys a rest. When you're losing 7-0, you know what? Pete, come in. Lindor, come in. You come in. Let these young guys get some play time. So you could do that as you're beginning the season. When towards the end of the season, then you say, you know what? I gotta play you every day because I need the best out there. And even with the best that the Mets had this year, we still lost the lead. So, like I said before, having all these marquee players that you have on your team, having the Verlanders, having the Scherzers, having the Lindors, having the Correas, that's not going to guarantee you a championship. You can spend billions of dollars. That is not going to, especially in the game of baseball, that's not going to guarantee you a championship. Look at the Guardians. The Guardians went further than the Mets did. And they had the youngest team in baseball. Well, David Robinson, he could set up for Mariano. That'd be a good setup. And they're talking about getting E.M. Hendricks. That'll even be, if they can get Hendricks, that'll solidify the Mets bullpen. That will solidify the Mets bullpen. Because signing Adam Ottavino is horrible. Ottavino is horrible. I don't even like Ottavino. He is bad. But they signed him. Yes, each year is different. In the game of baseball, each year, like I said, you know that KD is going to score every game 30 to 40 points. You know that because that's KD. You're just shooting a ball to the hoop. The man has Everywhere he goes to, he has every inch of the court measured. So he knows if he does this or this, he's going to score it in. He's going to do that. But you cannot say the same thing on baseball. Or the Padres. Yeah, the Padres. But for some odd reason, a lot of players don't want to go to the Padres. Machado's going to be a free agent next year. How much do you think Machado's going to command? He's going to command way over $300 million. And Machado is a better player than Alex Correa. And he's proven. The only thing about Machado is that he's a lazy player. He doesn't like to run. He doesn't like to do. There's a lot of things a lot of managers don't like because of that. Because he doesn't run a lot. He doesn't put his heart out to the game. He just wants to hit and blah blah blah. But he's an excellent third baseman. Him and Norman, third baseman for Colorado, beast at third base. They're beast at third base. You know, and we just gotta hope that Correa stays healthy, that he stays healthy, and he does what he's got to do. You know, if Correa can stay healthy, and he can, like I said, trim down on the swinging, because his defense is there. There's no questioning Correa's defense, but it's his at bats. It's choosing which ball to swing at. Like I said, you're giving $315 million to a player that's never reached 30 home runs, never reached 100 RBIs. So, what am I looking forward for the Mets? I am looking, my nephew this year was like, we should have won the National League East. We should have won first place, the title. And I'm like, who cares? The world, we're in the playoffs. We're in the wild card. But I looked at it, and it's not the same thing, because in the wild card, 3 games you're out. The best of 3. Whoever wins the first 2, whoever wins 2 games, that's it. As far as I'm the type of person that I like continuous baseball. I don't like my team having a week off, because that takes away a lot. That takes away from the momentum that player is on. If that player is on fire, and all of a sudden you shut him down for a week, it's not the same thing practicing hitting baseball than going live. You have that adrenaline coming up and stuff like that, and you continue doing that. So Atlanta took a week off. Atlanta came back. They beat us, and they didn't make it to the playoffs. The team that we didn't really think went to the playoffs, which was the Philadelphia Phillies. The wild card is good. Don't get me wrong. The wild card is good, but if you had a choice and a chance to go from a title to win the title to a wild card, you would go for the title, because it gives you more of a momentum. You get to rest your players. The only thing that I don't like about it is that you're resting your players for too long, depending on how long one match lasts from the other. So it's basically a week that you have these players have off. And that takes away from the momentum that player is having, or those players are having. Like I said, Phillies just kept on playing. San Diego kept on playing. Guardians kept on playing. And then, they just picked up from there. So it's good. But the Mets should have had, the worst mistake the Mets did in the championship, the worst mistake the Mets did was to bring up Alvarez and to let him hit in the Atlanta game, in the 3 games or 4 games they would play with Atlanta, because those were playoff-like games, and you put in a rookie. Someone on Facebook was like, "Oh no, he's going to do great." I said, "No, he's not going to do great, because you're putting in a rookie. He's going to swing at everything." Lord and behold, he swung at every pitch that in the 4 games that he played. He swung at every pitch, And then when he did play in Citi Field, then he hit the home run. So people were like, "Oh, look at the power he had." That was a curveball, people. And you saw that curveball come a mile away. Slow pitch. He hit it and it went out. The guy has power. But the fastballs and he struck out. He swung at everything. So I wouldn't have brought him in for that. That was the waste. I think that hurt us. The grown pitching, all fastballs, because that's what he basically threw. If you see it, all fastballs. They're expecting fastballs, so that's what they're going to hit. Scherzer, the same thing. So 2 of our best pitchers didn't perform well in the playoffs. Who won the game for us? That one game. Okay, so then he performed well, and it sucks. It sucks, but we're going to see. Yeah, I know. Okay, okay, Michelle, but they should have put Alvarez in a situation like that. They should have put that rookie in a situation like that. They should have, because even Buck Showalter should have known that you put him and you put a rookie in a play. The rookie, what he's going to do, he's going to try to perform. He's going to try. This is my first game. I'm in here. I'm going to do everything that I can to and be the best that I can, so I can show them. And he's going to swing at everything because he wants to show management. He wants to show the fans that he can do it, and he's going to swing at everything. And that's a bad thing. If they wanted to do that, they can do that this year too. Bring that kid up to play every day for the first month in April. Let him come up to play. April's not that strong of a month, but you want to start off good. Let him play in April. You should have put him to. You could have put him to DH. Let him play in April. See how it goes, so he can acclimate to pitchers, so he can see balls better, because it's different from minor leagues to major leagues. Same way it's different from when Kenda from Japan plays in in the major leagues. It's going to be different because you have the ball players are bigger, they're faster. Even though he pitched good when when they did the World Classic Baseball, he did pitch good for his team in Japan. He struck out a couple of major leaguers, you know. But Japan League is not the same thing as American baseball. A lot of people don't do that transition very well. Oshani did well. Drew Darvish did well, but a lot of them don't do well because it's totally different. You want every player that comes in your team to do well, no matter who it is. No matter from where the country they're from. But it's the baseball is just different. So let's just hope that the Mets can that Verlander. What I don't care if Verlander gives them a good year, that Scherzer gives them a good year, and all that kind of stuff. But we need to start grooming our minor leaguers. We need to start picking up those pitchers from the minor leagues. But the Braves, the Braves brought up the rookies, but the Braves didn't have that good of a team when they started. Ozzy Albies was hurt. They had a couple of players that were hurt, but after the All-Star break came, after the All-Star, they started swinging for the fences and they started winning games. How do you lose 20 games? How do you lose a lead of 20 games? You're up ahead 20 games. We lost a lead. Look it up. Google it. In the All-Star break, how many games we were up from Atlanta? And we lost the lead, guys. We lost the lead. And mind you, look, put it this way. They gave Carlos Correa $315 million. But Trey Turner is a way better player. 10 times way better player than Carlos Correa. He runs. He has speed. He has bat. He has power. He can lefties and righties. He doesn't strike out as much. Who got him? The Phillies. And the Phillies, they went to the World Series, and now Phillies are just by Turner going into the Phillies, they've upgraded their team. They upgraded their team immensely. Okay? Because now you got Harper's out, but you got Harper, you got Schwarber, even though Schwarber's a sucky ass left fielder. But the guy hits home runs. He gets 35, 40 home runs a year. Then you got Trey Turner. They got a good team. Last year they were underestimated. That's the way baseball is. The team that you didn't think was going to make the World Series made it to the World Series, and that's the Philadelphia Phillies. Okay, people discarded the Guardians, and the Guardians came close. The Guardians came close to going into the World Series or advancing more than they advanced more than the Mets, and they had a younger team. Yes, it's embarrassing to lose a 20-game lead. And mind you, we already had the highest payroll in baseball. And even that didn't guarantee us the championship. So what's to say that just because we're putting our big names out there, that they're going to... You know what? I've always said that whenever you put a team, and whether you put big leaguers, when you put marquee players, and you don't put marquee players, these rookies, They want to give their best. These players want to get the ones that have no money, the ones that are just coming up. They want to play their best, so they want to give you 100%. But when you get players that is making $200 million, they're not going to give you their best. Well, Girardi's not a good manager. Girardi's not a good manager. Joe Torres wasn't a good manager. I don't know Joe Torres. When you got a team, you got a team. And when players don't want to play for you, they just don't want to play for you. They'll swing at anything, or they don't swing at all, or they'll run little balls here and there. But when you got good manager, I like strict managers. They say, you know what? If you don't run on this ball, I want to sit your ass down. If you swing on the first pitch, that's what my manager was when I was in baseball. If you swung on the first pitch, you're sitting ass. So I remember my first time that I went, I became a switch hitter. I went and I swung lefty, and when I went swinging left-handed, I got a hit, and after I got a hit for the first time, he sat me down, and he goes, "I told you not to swing at the first pitch," but I said I didn't swing at the first pitch. I didn't even swing at it. It was like my third pitch. And then after all, everybody was like, no. My manager's name was Robert. You get, no, Robert, Gio didn't swing at the first pitch. He swung at pitch number 4 or something like that. He goes, oh, I already sat you down, but okay, I'm sorry about that. But managers like that. Managers that to say, if you don't run the ball, this is going to happen. If you don't play, because you want players to play 100%. Baseball has become sport, especially baseball, has become a business. A business. You can no longer say it's a sport, but it's a business. When you go somewhere and the hot dog is $10, it's a business. A beer is $10, it's a business. Pretzels, $8, it's a business. Because how do you think Stevie Cohen's going to afford all this? Yes, he's a billionaire, but he's got to make that money up. So that's why he's doing this, because he knows that if the Mets go far and if the Mets go into a World Series, he's going to make his money back with merchandise, with food, with sales of food. And remember that these baseball teams, they share revenues. So whenever a team comes into Citi Field and they play, they get some of that revenue, and vice versa. When the Mets go play in another stadium, they get that revenue. They share it. Some ball clubs get more than others, but you don't need marquee players to win a World Series. You need players who's going to play their heart out. You need players that are not going to swing at everything. They're going to play their hearts out. They're going to do the right thing. That's how you win ball games. That's how you win ball games. But anyway, so let's see what Correa does. Let's see how he comes out next year. I wish us the best. I say the Mets should get Hendricks if they can, so to solidify the back end of the pitching, so he can be a setup man for Diaz. And I want to congratulate Seth Lugo for going to the San Diego Padres. I think that's one of my favorite pitchers. Though he's Puerto Rican, Seth Lugo's Puerto Rican. Seth Lugo always wanted to be a starter. He did start when he started with the Mets. I remember he played he started 10 games. He won 6 of those, but he always wanted to be a starter. Now he's going to San Diego. He's going to be a starter in San Diego. So I wish him the best of luck. I hope he doesn't win when we play against them, but I wish him the best of luck in San Diego. I know he's going to be great for San Diego pitching staff, and that's a team to look out for, the San Diego Padres, for next year. But that's neither here or there, because you're good in paper. We are great in paper, but when we get to the ball game, there's no point you're great in paper, and then comes the middle of August or the middle of July, and you lose a 20-game lead. How do you lose a 20-game lead? Lugo's not going to the Padres. Lugo is with the Padres. He signed a 2-year, $14 million contract. So Seth Lugo's out. I want him to stay, but he was never going to be a starter. That's the thing about the Mets, the Yankees, well, at least the Mets, like the Mets and the Jets and the Knicks, they don't put the right players to play. They always, you're gonna put Seth Lugo to pitch a regular season game. You're gonna give him 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 games to start. You never know what will come. He is a starter. That's what he does. That's how he came up to the major leagues. But with San Diego, I think he's gonna do great. I think he's gonna be a good addition to that pitching staff with Yu Darvish and himself and the others. I think they're gonna be a team to beat. Uh, so we'll see how they go about that. But let's see how the Mets do. Let's see if Uncle Steve's spending spree works out, because you can spend all the money in the world, but if you're gonna leave 10 to 12 men on bases every day, that's not gonna happen. No problem, Michelle. So I just want to thank every one of you for watching my channel. If you have not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and do so, which I should have mentioned that in the beginning, but go ahead and do so. So thanks for watching my show, the King Geo Show. I'm gonna try to do more live update. Yes, San Diego's a scary team. I'm not too much. I don't care about this. I don't care about Los Angeles, because I knew the Los Angeles Dodgers were going to go nowhere anyway. You win 106 games, you still didn't make it to the World Series.